to the 0 to 7 podcast. This is episode 4, and just for a little recap, in 2020, Austin started his journey to be a detailer, not really a boss yet. He came from seminary, and then he got laid off by his job. Moving forward to 2021, the detailing kind of took off, and then going to 2022, became a actual boss and got a shop, and now it's 2023, which is probably his craziest year yet. That being said, here's Austin.
Here I am.
How's it going?
Welcome. Good. How are you, sir?
Doing good. A little tired.
Yeah,
But,
you get to sleep.
yeah, I know. But why sleep when you can do a podcast?
Why sleep when you can do this amazing podcast? Why sleep when you can listen to this amazing podcast?
Exactly. And if you're listening to it right now, you might listen to like the last 3 ones, and then like the future ones, and then, yeah.
Or if you're trying to go to sleep, maybe put on this podcast. Cause
that's not good. Because, like, are you saying we're boring?
No. I'm saying we're soothing.
I don't know about that one. But just to kick things off, we're going to keep it the same and keep it the timeline.
Yeah, timeline.
We don't have any pictures today, so. But,
yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, we can explain. So it's 2023.
Yep.
Last December 2022, don't get me wrong. Pretty sure like nothing major happened, but something did major happen in 2023 in January. You hired an extra employee, which is Jared.
Yep. Yeah, so 22 we had main employee was Jordan, which we'll talk more about in this episode. And then outside of Jordan, we just had kind of, I had some summer help and I had a couple other employees, but just kind of, just more random, nothing really consistent. Going into 23, I want to say we only had Jordan then. So if Jordan was out, then it's just me, and doing cars solo by yourself, especially in the shop, was really hard. So I remember right at the turn of, it was literally January 1st. I had all these cars on the schedule. Jordan called out, and I was like, how am I going to get this done? I have no idea. So I just started posting on Facebook groups. I was like, literally anybody that wants to work, that can work, just come to my shop right now and I'll pay you, and we'll figure it out. And so Jared's family members saw it and called him, and I guess he needed a job at the time, and he was like, hey, go to this guy's shop. So Jared calls me and was like, hey, are you looking for help? And some guy had already said yeah, I'm on my way. And I was like, well, somebody already said he's coming, but I was like, I don't care at this point, just I need help. So the other guy never showed up, and then Jared showed up, and I was just like, hey, just vacuum this car. Hey, just do these super small things so we can get these jobs done. So he did that for a couple weeks. Well, it was really a day-by-day thing of he worked good the first day, and I was like, dude, I really need help tomorrow. I was like, you want to come back? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then so I came back to the next day, and then I was like, I really need help the next day too. And so after we did a couple of days like that, I was like, hey, do you just want a job? And he was like, sure. So then hired him, and he worked all 2023.
So did he have any prior experience?
Mm-mm.
No? So you just taught him?
No.
So you weren't looking for experience, you were just looking for help?
Yeah, I mean now where we're at now in 2024, I really want experience, because training takes a long time to get you up to standard. But at that point, it was literally just get these jobs done, and I'll teach you as we go, but the basic detailing stuff is pretty simple, right? It's not until you get into the film and tint and paint correction and coating side that gets really complicated. So I was like, I can handle that side if you can handle, vacuuming and working the extractor and stuff like that, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, a little fast forward to February, nothing really major happened that you can remember.
Something happened. I don't remember. This This was
You know
a
what?
year ago at this point.
Absolutely nothing happened. So we had to jump over to March. You hired Alberto.
Yeah. So Alberto had been. I feel like we've talked about Alberto in past episodes. But Alberto had kind of done his own thing on the side for a while. He had helped us out randomly on jobs. I'm trying to remember how Alberto found us. It might have been Instagram. I don't know, but I had known Alberto for a while now. But he was at Chick-fil-A and then left that job, and then he kept asking, like, hey man, can I come work for you? Can I come work for you? And I was like, I ain't got the work. Like, well, I'd love to hire you, but like, I don't have anything for you to do. And then, yeah, it was right at March. So winter season is slow season for detailing. Spring, it starts to kick up. And then summer is usually insane. So we finally started getting our spring rush. And I was like, all right, I need more help. Alberto, do you want to come work? And he was like, heck yeah. So...
A little insight on Alberto. He's the old head of the shop.
He is.
But he's a joy to be around. But in the same month, yeah, interview with Canvas Rebel.
Yep.
What was that like?
It was fine.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I really should have done my research.
Yeah.
Who? Can you give us insight on who's Canvas Rebel?
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked about it before. Like I've done TV. I've done a bunch of interviews. And it's most of the time it's just these random local, like, kind of newspaper blog type things. Again, does anybody see them? I don't know, but it's kind of cool to be like, hey, I'm in a magazine. I was interviewed. But I feel like that's about as far as the coolness factor goes. But yeah, I mean, they just kind of ask you pretty generic questions of, you know, basically a shorter form content of what we're doing on this podcast now, of like the journey and what's going on and what's coming up and what are your tips and tricks and insights and what are your struggles, like stuff like that. So yeah, I've done a few different one of those. Canvas Rebel was one of them. And then the big one was actually Fort Worth Report did a story on me. I'm trying to remember when that was. That was sometime in 2023. But that story I know people saw because people would call and be like, hey, I actually saw it. Because Fort Worth Report is actually somewhat legitimate versus like just these random kind of fringe magazines. No offense to the other random fringe magazines, but come on, let's be honest. You know who you are. But yeah, the Fort Worth Report one was cool. That one, sorry, I'm totally rambling at this point, but I'm just going to...
No, you're fine.
Keep going.
Keep going.
So I found one of the writers for Fort Worth Report posted on one of the Facebook groups of like, hey, I'm a writer. If anybody has a story they think is interesting, like, let me know. And I was like, don't shoot my shot. So I sent him like a quick like message of like, hey, here's my story. Like, if you're interested, would love to talk more. So he like almost immediately messaged me back and was like, hey, I think you have a great story. I'd love to do a story. I was like, cool. Okay. And so we do an interview and then like, honestly, I forgot about it. I just never heard from him. And I was like, maybe he just didn't think it was that good. And I didn't really bring it up. And then like 3 months later, he messages me and was like, hey, so sorry, I had a bunch of stuff going on. I finally got the story edited. Is there anything else I should add? And I like gave him some updates, and he was like, are you still okay if I run it? And I was like, heck yeah. So yeah, he ran it, and yeah, that one was really big for us. But like I said, I've done a couple different magazines, TV, stuff like that. So
Humble guy.
Humble flex.
Humble flex. The interview with Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Did it do anything crazy for us? For the company?
I think it just got us more attention. Just elevating us again from, you know, we're not the local teenager with the $20 wash, right? Like we're, you know, we do legit work. We have legit equipment, a legit shop, insurance, good stuff. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I was surprised how many people saw it. I was like, y'all read newspapers? Again, sorry to offend anybody that reads a newspaper, but like, I just didn't know people still did that. So
Yeah. Actually, I'll say that for the next pod. But in April, you got a key drop off. Why is that so important?
It was just anything we can do to add stuff. Which they actually sent me. So, you ever been to like a garage and they've got like a big box, right? You can drop your keys off.
Yeah.
Okay, so the website I ordered from had like a giant box, and then ours is like a tiny rectangle, right? Well, they sent me both, and I was like, all I ordered was a tiny rectangle because I'm like, I don't need like 50 keys, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember calling the guy and being like, hey, you accidentally sent me this, and it's like not cheap because it's like full metal steel, like it's hefty. And he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. He was like, can you send it back? And he's like, I'll send you a check for like $20 or something for your trouble. And I was like, okay. And then he was supposed to send me like the shipping return, and then he never did. So I think it's actually still in our office now that I think about it. But
$20 though.
I was, yeah, I was like, man,
I guess
okay.
it's lunch.
But if that guy's watching, I still have your key drop off.
You think about selling it?
I would sell it. Yeah.
How much do you think you'll get for it?
I mean, I would take almost anything for it, but it retails for like $700.
How long?
You want to buy it?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, to be fair, it's coming up on a year. I don't think you're gonna use it. So.
Yeah. Maybe new shop.
New shop, probably.
But yeah, no, it's just cool. Just again, it's another feature that we have that if you want to drop off in the morning after hours, you want to pick up after hours, we can give you a custom code, and that way you don't have to make strict working hours work. We can work around your schedule. So.
Yeah, awesome. Well, in the same month, you got two of our coolest customers. We got Baylor and Jeff. Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy to think we've only had them for a year because they are some of our best customers. Yeah, so shout out both Baylor and Jeff. Again, if you guys are watching this, you guys are incredible and have really helped propel our business. So Baylor came in, he had that green, like lime green Macan. We did a full coating on it. Turned out great. He loved it. And then he's had a couple other cars. I'll save that because I know we're going to get into that later. But super cool guy, just super humble. And then Jeff brought us, I want to say the first car was a Sprinter van. I don't know why I'm asking you. You weren't there.
I wasn't.
But yeah, he had like a huge like Sprinter van that I think we detailed first. So we did that. His wife had a Porsche. He had the Alfa Romeo. He had a BMW. And then he just got something else too. But we've done several of his cars and coated most of them. But again, Jeff is really cool because Jeff is the type of guy that just seems to like, the only way I know how to describe it is just like radiate Jesus, of like there's a kindness to him that you're like, something's different about you, right?
I met him once. I'll get to that a little bit later in the podcast, but
okay.
I met him not in the best way. But cool guy, not for me, but like.
What?
I'll explain later in the podcast. It's gonna be a crazy kind of story.
That's messed up.
Oh, light went out.
Light went out. Technical difficulties. Power through.
Do your job.
So yeah, Jeff was really cool. And yeah, he's been a great client, even still to today. And he keeps buying cars, so.
Let's go.
Jeff, keep buying cars.
Whoa, speaking of buying stuff, in May, you had a little fun, and you basically bought a whole new setup. Yeah, it's like if I bought a whole new gaming setup, it's going to take my whole life savings.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a shop. What kind of supplies did you buy?
We balled out a little bit.
Yeah.
I went a little crazy.
I'll just say like $30K, right?
Yeah, it was about $30,000 worth of equipment.
Yeah, 1 month.
In 1 month.
Was it in one sitting where you're just like, I want that, I want that, I want that, or was it like over the?
Almost, yeah. It was wild because I didn't like. It was fun, but at the same time, it was like very scary. So I was just like, just do it. Add to cart. Add to cart.
Was this tax return money or just?
So, wait, what month is this?
This is May.
This is May. Okay, so again, we hit our spring rush. So I think like March and April, like we had really good months, right? So I knew we were doing good. We're going into summer. I'm like, all right, we're going to make our big summer push. So I did take on a little bit of debt too. Plus, I knew we had those good months. And so I was like, all right, we're going to go for it. So we got our race deck floors. That was about $7,000. We got some upgraded lights. That was about $1,000. We got a top of the line extractor. That's about $2,000. Top of the line steamer was about $1,500. I think we got some more polishers. The polishers are like $500 a pop. I think probably that's when we got the pressure washer too, which would have been like another $1,000. So I know there's stuff I'm missing, but yeah, we kind of balled out. But it was cool because now we literally had the best equipment, and especially again just trying to attract higher end clientele of like when you walk into a dentist office, like you want it to feel nice, right? Like you don't want to walk in and be like,
I'm not safe here.
Yeah, like what's going on here? So especially as we started taking care of nicer and nicer cars, like it's function, but also it's part of just like let's look the part and let's look professional. But yeah, we ball so hard.
Spent $30K to look like you're him.
Basically.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Hey, a lot of it was function though too.
Yeah. I didn't realize how important a good steamer is until I started using the one you got from Amazon that sucks.
Yeah.
So I kind of missed the old steamer. I hope it gets fixed soon. But fast forward the month. I don't know exactly the day. Also forgive me if I pronounce his name wrong.
Who? What?
We did a car of Jared Stidham.
Oh, Jared Stidham.
Stidham. Yeah.
Stidham.
Forgive me for mispronouncing his name.
NFL quarterback, which was pretty cool. It was super weird. So he's
real quick. Did you meet him?
No, I didn't meet him.
No.
I met his wife. His wife was cool. But he was in Denver. They were in some like mini camp or something. But yeah, it was weird. So I get this call and like this lady answers and she straight up identifies as like, hey, I'm an agent for like our client. And then it was really weird because they like didn't tell me his name. But then like through some information, or I think like maybe even in the email, it was like his name. And I was like, am I not supposed to say his name? Because I'm like, I know who that is. Like,
yeah.
So it was super weird. But yeah, they were cool. They actually lived pretty close. Went to their house to pick up the vehicle and met his wife and drove it back, detailed it, brought it back, and they were super happy. But it was pretty cool getting to detail for an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, and like, I have a story. It's probably not important.
Sweet.
But I already started, so I'll just cut this out. Fix it in post. But
Fix it in post.
When I was working in the movie theaters, we got a call. Manager picked it up, and they're like, "Hey, we got some VIP clients coming in.
Okay.
We want a theater." And we're like,
a whole theater?
Yeah, we're like, we can't just do that. They're like,
sure you can.
We got the money. So I'm like, if like LeBron James walked through that door, they said VIP.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of TikTokers.
Dang.
They're like, I can see if like they're like famous TikTokers or cool ones. They were just like,
I mean, they were probably famous if they're renting out a movie theater.
No, they weren't. I promise. We looked them up.
Dang.
It was just so disappointing. This story was like a waste of oxygen, but I just had to. That just reminded me. So it's like.
That is, I mean, I guess actually you think about it, it wouldn't cost that much to rent out a movie theater. I mean, what's a movie theater got? Like 100 seats?
Yeah, it came
20,
out to
$20 a pop?
Yeah, it came out $200.
$200?
Yeah.
Wait, I can rent an entire movie theater for $200?
Yeah, and you can play Xbox. You can bring your Xbox and play on the big screen. It's pretty cool. Imagine playing like Elden Ring on like the big screen.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it's like $250, maybe around there.
That's wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I would have said a couple grand, but
no, super cheap, super cool.
Yeah, that's not VIP at all.
Yeah, so that's why I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
And they were so rude. Like, I couldn't explain.
I mean, they're TikTokers. What do you expect?
he threw change at us like we were like chums. Like, what do you mean? I don't want your 75 cents, dude. He just threw it at us. I was like, that's so mean. For a pack of Twizzlers. I was like, dog, Twizzlers don't even cost 75
Wait, they
cents.
ate Twizzlers?
Yeah, they ate candy. They bought
Bro,
candy.
you should have kicked them out.
Twizzlers is good, though.
Twizzlers sucks. I will die on that hill.
Dog.
You can't tell me you like Twizzlers.
I love Twizzlers.
Why? It's going on the list. That's going on the list.
Twizzlers is a
Twizzlers.
nice snack. It's not too sweet.
Nope. It is one of the worst candies.
Black licorice, yeah, but Twizzlers?
Twizzlers is terrible, dude. Nobody likes Twizzlers.
Everybody likes Twizzlers.
Nobody likes Twizzlers.
Everybody likes Twizzlers.
Alright, we're going to put up a poll.
Alright, that's fine. I win.
Vote.
It's like the staple candy in the movie theater.
That's not a good thing.
How?
What do you mean?
See, this argument will go on for about another 30 minutes.
Alright.
But we will have this argument once
on.
it's over.
Okay, moving on.
Same month. May 19th, you hire Zach, which is kind of like your homeboy.
My homie. I guess. No, I love Zach.
Yeah.
So Zach was a rec, actually, from Jared. And Zach was in college. And he was coming home for the summer. And so I remember I had to interview him on Zoom. And he was so professional. Which, I'm not saying you're not professional, Zach, but that's not exactly what I think of when I think of Zach.
No, not at all. No.
Damn, you didn't have to body him like that, but
He'll be alright.
But yeah, so he interviewed great, and I was like, oh man, I love this guy. So I was like, yeah, you're hired. So he worked for the summer, and the really cool thing about Zach is he's really good, I feel like, at building people up, which I think is rare, especially for guys, right? Like, it's super easy. It's just easy to make fun of each other, right? And that's, not that that's a bad thing, that's kind of a part of team building is, you suck, whatever, and, I'm going to tease you and kind of mess with you.
You're old.
Okay, not really, but good example. But I think it's a problem, if you're not getting messed with, then honestly, the team chemistry and dynamic, that's kind of off, right? You need to have that friendship enough to where you can joke around, not saying, incredibly derogatory things, but, it's a joke, right?
Yeah.
But getting back to the point here, Zach would take that, and instead of being a negative, he would turn it into a positive. So instead of being I don't have a specific example, but just off the top of my head, if you're struggling to lift something, be like, oh, you're so weak, right? Ha 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 ha. But Zach would be like, oh man, I wish I was as strong as you. Look at you, man, you looking great. And he would turn the joking into a compliment, which again I think is rare, and I think just really helped team dynamics and culture and atmosphere. And so that was pretty cool to see, and it was really nice to have Zach around in the summer. And then, unfortunately, he's still in school. Apparently considered dropping out of school, but I was like, you're not dropping out of school.
He just needs the green light from you. But, I mean...
Yeah, so his mom works with my wife, and his mom messaged my wife and was like, please don't let Zach drop out of school. I was like, no, we're not letting Zach drop out of school.
Yeah.
He's finishing school. Like, as much as I would love to have him. And there's times I've kind of considered, like, Zach drop out of school.
Because his car knowledge is insane. And also, like, from work with him, he does know how to keep people, like, going on track. If he sees people talking and slacking too much, he'd be like, hey, go do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's pretty good.
The car knowledge is nice, too, because as strange as it sounds, even though I run a detail shop, I don't know cars.
Oh, he's going to use this as, like, use this clip as, like, hey, you don't know cars, because I know y'all argue back and forth about cars.
I mean, never forget, Zach, that one time that I knew something about a car that you didn't. We don't have to go into the specifics, but I definitely knew something about a car that he didn't, and I will never let that moment go. It's one of my proudest moments.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, another proud moment in June.
Oh, look at that transition.
I know,
Dang.
right? Fort Worth Telegram Award.
Oh, yeah, we won. Hooray!
We won. What is that?
Yeah, so Fort Worth Star Telegram, they put out the best of every year, and so people vote on it. And so we won. It was actually really funny. So we actually just wrapped up the voting for 2024. I still don't know if we won. Real talk.
We won.
Hopefully we go back to back. But yeah, last year they were like, we'll announce the results in June. But then like a few weeks later, I get this email and it's an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and they're like, we need you to sign this. And I was like, why do I have to sign an NDA? And they're like, obviously we can't tell you.
Wait, didn't you just break the NDA?
Well, the information already came out.
Oh, I thought NDA was like for life.
No. So this was an NDA that we couldn't disclose that we won until they announced it, right?
Oh.
But now it's common knowledge. Like, everybody knows we won last year.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, I legitimately don't know if we've won this year. And I'm not just saying that because there's an NDA, although hopefully there is an NDA coming. But yeah, so I knew for like months and couldn't say anything. And, you know, like, I had friends who voted and they were like, hey, did you ever win? And I was like, oh, we'll see. And they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I don't know. So.
No, I didn't win.
Yeah, I was definitely kind of like that. But yeah, we won.
How did it feel, though? Like, yo, we're the best? Or was it like, that's whatever? Got another TV or interview type thing?
Yeah, I mean, I had a client ask me that, I guess that was just yesterday. Man, that felt like a long time ago. But yeah, he asked me that yesterday, and I was like, honestly, like, it doesn't mean anything to me.
You gotta start celebrating the small things.
I mean, I know, everybody says, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. But, like, we're so far from, like, where I want to be that I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's a nice stepping stone, and, like, it's great, but I'm like, I just still feel like we have so much to do and so much to accomplish, so I'm just like, okay, cool, next. Which is maybe not the right attitude to have, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, you got a reward, and then a couple days later you fired Jordan, so. That was a terrible transition.
That was a bad transition. You went from slam dunk to airball. Like,
yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, you fired your guy, your homie. Second man in command.
Yeah, I'm try to get through this without crying, because I'm bawled.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so Jordan, if you listen to, when did we hire Jordan? What was that, 22?
Yeah, it's 22.
Is that just last? Man. All right, well, go back. If you haven't heard 22, go back and listen to 22 for context on Jordan. Yeah, so 23, Jordan's been with me for 1.5 years at this point. And I think the thing you have to understand is, like, Jordan was with me pre-shop, and we just talked about, like, I dropped $30,000, and now we have all top-of-the-line equipment, right? So Jordan was with me when we were mobile. We had, like, basically no equipment, and we're just going to people's houses in the middle of summer and, like, 120 degrees, pouring sweat, day in and day out, working 8-hour days, right? Like, just me and him. And so to go from that to an air-conditioned shop with top-of-the-line equipment, like, he helped build that. And so the problem was it got to the point with he was not there. So he had a lot of family stuff going on. He had a lot of illness going on. So some of that, like, you try to be understanding, right? Of like, okay, hey, you got stuff going on. I get it. You can't work, right? But other days he would just be like, I slept in. I just forgot. Like, and it got to the point where I think in the span of like 2 months, maybe 3 months, he missed like a month of work. So it literally got to the point where like 50% of the time he wasn't showing up. And I'm like, and at this point I'm still kind of detailing sometimes. And I'm like, man, I can't count on you. And especially like if we have a full schedule, like I need people there, like, right? Like we've got to get these jobs done. Now, if we have a light day, like no harm, no foul. Like if something comes up, you're good. But if we're busy, like I need you there. And so it got to the point where like it needed to happen, and I just kept putting it off because I didn't want to have this conversation. Because again, it felt like we built this. The way I described it is like we started with nothing. We built this house and we filled it with really nice things, and like now you're not here to enjoy it and continue to build. Like you're just out. So I remember that day, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I planned on doing it like first thing in the morning, and I couldn't do it. And I kept coming up to him and being like, he was polishing a car, I remember, and I was like, oh, how's it going? Oh, good? Yeah? Okay. Great. And I was like, and I'm going to walk away.
Wait, what? I've seen you fire people before. Why do you do it in the morning?
Why do I do it in the morning?
Yeah, not just at the end of the day.
I mean, I guess I could do it end of day, but like, I want to. It goes back to like Eat That Frog. That's a book, and it talks about like if you're gonna do a hard task, put your hard task first, because if you keep like delaying it, then you get the end of the day, and then you're tired and you don't want to do stuff, and now you have to like eat a frog. I don't know if that translated at all, but usually I want to do the hard stuff first.
Okay.
So that's why I wake up at 4 a.m. and work out. Stay hard.
Oh,
see?
light's back.
Light's back.
That,
yeah, the light was like...
needed a motivational...
Yeah.
That's wild.
It was like, you know what? If David Goggins was here, I would be on. Let me turn it on right now.
Paid actor.
That was quality.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so I kept coming up to him, and I kept chickening out, and then finally I was like, just do it. And so I was like, hey man, can you come to the office? So he comes to the office, and I'm literally holding back tears of like, hey, you know, you haven't been here, I can't count on you, like, I gotta let you go. And, you know, he was just pretty stone-faced, but he was like, I understand. And, yeah, so he just left, and as soon as he left, like, I just broke and just cried.
Was Jared and Zach and Alberto there too?
I want to say Zach and Alberto were there. So I think when that happened, like, obviously he just left. So I had to go talk to them of like, hey, here's what happened. And then I think Jared was out of town, and so I had to call him because I wanted him to know what happened. But yeah, I'm just like fighting back tears of like, Jordan is fired. Yeah, so that was just really emotional. I mean, I've definitely fired people before, and I'm like, get the hell out of my shop. But yeah. Jordan was just different. So that one was really hard, but needed to happen. So no regrets on it, but yeah, that was hard.
Yeah. Well, nothing happened in the month of July, but in August, we were speaking about Baylor and his cars, and now this one he got a very cool car, which is a Urus.
Lamborghini Urus.
You want to explain why the car is so cool?
It was purple.
It's purple.
Yeah.
Like, not just like any type of purple, but it was like
purple.
Yeah.
Zach would know the color. Zach's probably screaming right now, like, obviously everybody knows it's this color.
Yeah.
That's another weird fact about Zach. He knows pretty much all the car color names. So if you ever want to ask him, if you see him in the shop, just ask him what color your car is. He might be able to tell you. Yeah, so Baylor had the green Macan. He sold that, and he picked up a purple Urus. And I remember him calling me, saying like, hey, I got a new car, I need it coated. And I swear he said, like, I got another Porsche. And pulls up, and I remember Zach, like, just freaking out. And I was like, what? He was like, it's a Urus! I was like, oh, okay, cool.
And then you saw it was purple?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Lamborghini. Like,
yeah.
Yes, it's an SUV, but anytime you get to work on a Lamborghini, like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was our first Lamborghini, actually. We've worked on a couple different Lamborghinis now, but that was our first Lamborghini, which was pretty cool. So got to polish and coat, did a lot of content with it, because, yeah, I mean, crazy head turner. And then, funny enough, Baylor ended up selling it and going back to a Macan, and this time he got it wrapped in, like, a matte gray color. And I was like, why'd you sell it? And he was like, it attracted too much attention. I was like, well, you did buy a purple Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Like, so.
A Urus, too. So.
Yeah, everybody's like, wait, Lamborghini makes an SUV? I'm like, yeah, Lamborghini makes an SUV. But, yeah, it was cool while he had it. We had it a couple times in the shop. So, yeah, again, anytime you can work on a Lamborghini, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, this year, you hired Jared in January, and you hired Berto, and you hired Zach, fired Jordan. A lot of employees.
Yep.
More to come.
Yep.
When this month particular, you hire your best one.
Oh my god.
Like top dog.
Yeah.
Like I got lucky with this guy. What a steal.
I know where this is going.
And then like with this guy, he's kind of a stud. You hire a guy, Mr. Sanjuan Laborde.
Oh man.
Second.
Who's that?
This guy.
Oh.
So you hire me.
Yeah.
I replaced Zach, right? Because he was leaving for college.
Yeah, Zach left for college, so we needed just more hands.
Yeah. And then I was the hands.
You were the hands.
Why did you hire me? That's what I had to ask. I know I asked before, but just let everybody know how great of a guy I was.
Oh man.
Waiting.
Yeah, we can get into it. I think honestly we could do. You have a crazy story, and I think we've talked about this before, and I think we probably need to do your own episode. But, yeah. So first off, our show rate. I think I've talked about before. The show rate on interviews is horrendous. It's about 30%.
I remember one day you went over like 5.
Yeah. One day I had full of interviews. Not a single person showed. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah, you might have been the only person that day, or like one of 2 people that showed up.
15 minutes early.
I would say you showed up early. Check. So like, dude, just don't suck. Like,
yeah.
That's about all you got to do, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't think that was a very high bar, but like apparently it is. So yeah, you showed up early. And then again, we don't have to get too much into it, but you've had a lot of crazy stuff happen in your life, and I think it would have been super easy to blame anything and everything, honestly, like just blame the circumstances and, it's not fair. But during the interview, that's kind of what I'm looking for is like, do you take responsibility for your actions and where you're at? And you just owned it when, like, most people I don't think have legitimate excuses. You, one, I was like, this guy's had a lot. He's gone through a lot. But yeah, you didn't throw up excuses, and so I was like, oh, cool. Like, that's pretty cool. And you didn't know anything about detailing, but I was like, it seems like this guy like gets it. Like, so I remember you walking out and they were like, how do you like it? And I was like, I want that guy. That guy was good. So, how did you feel about the interview?
I didn't think I got it. Honestly, for that reason, I was like, yeah, crap. But then, yeah, once you called me, I was like, yeah, okay, dope. You told me that day, actually, like, come back tomorrow. I can't remember how that worked. You either called me or you told me. And then, like, during the work trial, I thought I didn't get it. Because, you know, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And then, there was one moment, again, I love Alberto, I love him. But he was talking to me for about, like, an hour and 30 straight while he was eating lunch. And I kept trying, like, to end the conversation to get back to work. So I didn't want to seem like I was working hard. But he was just talking to me. And I was like, yo, we're like an hour and 30 in. Again, I love Alberto. I'll talk to him for days at this point. But it was my first day, so I was just like, hey, I didn't want to be like, hey, shut up, because, you know, I want him to like me. So, yeah, I was like, crap, this sucks.
What? Y'all take an hour and 30 lunch?
We did.
Okay,
we did. Now we take an hour lunch.
Whoa. Yeah, we need to fix that.
To be fair, we had like one car that day.
Okay.
That's when we weren't efficient.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. If the schedule's light, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
that's funny.
But yeah, now I became the best detailer, best polisher, best coder, media guy, and then yeah.
I think we're gonna talk more about your skills, so I'm not gonna comment on them right now, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, leave it at that.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Then not going to. I remember you had to get another guy because you needed more help because we started boosting up the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is probably the most interesting person I ever met. And second interesting person because the other person is going to come up after him. We met a dude. I won't say his name, but
you're talking about this guy.
This guy. I don't know how. I'm just gonna put a disclaimer before we talk about Nazis and racism. Alright. Okay. So disclaimer, I'll put in the beginning, I'll put in the description, disclaimer.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay.
Dude walks in, right? I remember the day before, he's having his interview. He's in your office for about 2 hours. And not gonna lie, I'm a little nosy. I put my ear against the door. I was like, yo, this is 2 hours in. And he's yapping, and then you're like, yeah, man. So I'm like, okay. Well. He shows the next day. He goes, hey, I'm blank.
Mm-hmm.
That means for money. Daily about me. I hate Trump. I hate Nazis. And my favorite word is N-words. And I'm in my mind, I'm trying to process that.
I wish you were making this up.
Yeah, I'm not. And once you said N-word, all heads looked towards me. And I remember saying that moment, I'm not going to give him a reaction. So I stared at the TV. I said, I'm not going to give him the reaction that he wants. I know everybody stared at me for 30 seconds. And I know my face was getting red. And so I'll stare at the TV. I'm not trying to give a reaction. But the thing about that is, what happened to your life where you had to announce that you hate Nazis? Somebody had to accuse you of being a Nazi lover. Same thing with anyway, crazy day. We'll go forward. So moving forward, we're washing a car. Dude is just yapping, and he's talking to us with a pressure washer against a car, and he's just standing there
yeah, it's a few inches from the car.
Yeah, and we're like, hey, bro, keep it pushing, right? The whole time, he was like, hey, I talk a lot, shut me up. Okay, cool. Jeff walks in. This is where I meet Jeff. Dude, same thing he told us, he told Jeff, and Jeff's just like, okay? And then I was like, I don't know how to compete against that. I'm SJ. And he was like, nice to meet you. I was like, cool. That's the only time I ever seen Jeff, and that was how I met him. So, I didn't meet him in the best way possible. But, fast forward. It can get a little political in the shop. I'm not a political person at all, but I was arguing with another dude, won't say his name, for about 2 hours.
Yep.
We already don't like him. He kept asking me out the day, do you want us to hire him? My answer was no from the jump. So I did not want that dude. I did not feel safe. I did not want that dude. But it was lunchtime, and what really ticked me off was me and Alberto. He came next to me with a can of like
sardines.
It was like canned fish, and opened it, and he thought he was gonna sit next to me and eat it. No, not doing that. Get away from me! I'm moving.
It smelled so bad.
It smelled so bad. Okay, fast forward. I just want to speed it up. There's so many things that happened that day. He had a knife. We had like a nice car. He flipped it, hit the car, and we were like,
I didn't know that till later.
Yeah, till later. So like that's crazy. And then he's showing up his arsenal. I was like, you brought arsenal on your first day of work? Like that's wild.
Yep.
And there's so much more. And then it just wasn't a good. I wasn't happy. I was tired. I wanted to go home. And then eventually, it was end of day. Like, you know he's bad if Alberto doesn't like him. Because Alberto, he's a kind soul.
Yeah.
He's in your office, and I'm thinking, like, yo, like, he does have Arsenal. I know Austin's not finna hire him. Like, it can go down.
And y'all left me.
It was so funny, because me and Alberto book it. But midway we book, Alberto turn around, grab snacks, and book it.
What? You're like, Austin's about to die.
Yeah.
But first,
let me grab some snacks.
Let me grab some snacks.
And just to put a picture in your head, Alberto, he's not the tallest dude in the world. And so, just imagine, like, just chopping feet. And he's a little muscular. So, and so, he's like a pit bull.
Yeah.
But, that started that dude. So, we'll ask you a question about that a little bit later. But fast forward, we hire Ballo.
Yeah.
And another guy that we also won't name. But Ballo, he's an alright dude.
He's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Kind of self-diagnosed, crazy person. But,
yeah. That's fair.
But yeah, Ballo's pretty awesome. Why'd you hire Ballo?
Yeah, so, man, again, I wish you made all that up, but that...
Yeah, it was a crazy experience. There's so much that we left out, but yeah.
That really happened, and that was all the span of a day. So he did not get hired, and that's why we do test days. But yeah, so why I hired Ballo, so we actually started with a new marketing company, and we were starting to invest pretty heavily into marketing. Our marketing budget is pretty hefty. We got this incredible podcast, also goes in the marketing budget. But yeah, so we were starting to invest pretty heavily in marketing, and so we knew we were going to have to turn more revenue just to make the numbers work of, hey, if we're putting this money in, we hopefully got to get money out. If we're going to get money out, we got to turn more jobs. If we're going to turn more jobs, we need more hands. So started hiring again, and interviewed Ballo. Ballo was, again, very similar story to Zach, just very professional. I remember seeing, Ballo's not his legal name, but I remember seeing his name on a resume, and I was like, I can't pronounce that, but I like his resume, so I was like, I'll give him a shot. So then he interviewed, and then, I think we talked about, like, called him up, I was like, hey, I want you to come back for a training day, and he was like, I'm deciding between jobs, and I was like, all right, time to bust out the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's also what makes me mad.
What?
You never tried so hard to grab somebody before. Like, I never seen you try, till this day, so hard.
Well, nobody ever negotiated.
So if I would have said, hey, bro, I want a platter.
I might have.
No, you wouldn't.
I might have.
No, you wouldn't.
All right, well, anyways.
But I guess Ballo's worth it. So.
Yeah.
He's a cool guy.
So I was like, all right, we got to break out the Chick-fil-A, and then I was like, you seem kind of crazy, but I like you.
Yeah.
I think the thing with Ballo is twofold. One, legitimately a little crazy. Like,
yes.
That's not necessarily a negative, but like a little crazy, but simultaneously mixed with, I think, a high degree of integrity. And I think that's what makes Ballo really cool is, yes, he likes to have fun, and like, you might see him on like Jackass the movie, like maybe something like that, but simultaneously like can be respectful, has high integrity, and so that mix is really nice. Again, didn't have a ton of experience, but I was like, man, you're professional and you work hard. Like, we'll figure it out, you know? So.
Yeah, like, if I'm ever bored or, like, I really need a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to Bala. But,
Yeah, I mean, just watch our YouTube videos. You'll see Bala blurt out random
stuff.
random things.
That's awesome. Yeah. But you also had another guy. We're not going to say his name. We're also going to fast forward this a little bit, but I feel like this was a little important.
Okay.
This was probably your worst firing, right?
No, I've had worse.
You had worse?
Yeah.
What year?
No, I take that back because I forgot he did cuss me out. So.
Yeah. Didn't he throw a key at you?
I don't think he threw it at me.
He didn't hand it to you.
I don't remember. I do remember him cussing me out. Yeah. So basically at the same time I hired Balo, I had this crazy idea of like, let's really push. Let's hire 2 people. When really kind of we only needed 1, but I was like, let's go for it. So I hired this other guy that I thought was going to be great and was just on his phone a ton and it just wasn't a good fit. So he lasted about a week or 2 and then I fired him. And when I fired him, he kind of cussed me out and was like, "Are you kidding me?" And bleep, 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 bleep. And I was like, all right, cool, I made the right choice. See you later. So.
Well, the reason why you're firing him, watch this fire transition. So we got a dude from Ukraine.
Also crazy. Yeah.
That was a crazy time. So in October now, we're talking about Valeri. We got Valeri from Ukraine. He was in war. He said, hey. He reached out. Got made fun of. I'll tell you. You tell the better story, but
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot we could say on this. There's a whole YouTube video again. If you want to go check it out, you can watch that video. That explains a lot. But I'll try to make it brief because this is a multi-month process. But yeah, so Russia obviously invades Ukraine. Not good situation. This guy posts on like the biggest detailing Facebook group and just says, you know, hey, here's who I am. I'm here in Ukraine with my wife. I've detailed for like a decade. Trying to get out. Can anybody help me? Basically. So, totally ignored it because I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just feel like you can't trust stuff on the internet. But then, whatever Facebook algorithm, I guess people started interacting with it, and so I come back to Facebook and I see it again, and it's got all these comments. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, I was just curious, so I clicked on the comments. I was like, maybe somebody helped him out, right? And he had posted videos of him detailing just to show, like, hey, like, I know what I'm doing. Because, again, he had detailed for a super long time. And the comments were, like, people making fun of his detailing, like, oh, you're using clay wrong. You're polishing wrong. Why are you doing it that way? And I was like, okay, wait, hold up. Like, if this is real, like, if this dude is really sitting in Ukraine, trying to get out of a war zone with his wife, and using the only trade skill he has, and Americans are sitting over here just being like, you suck. That's messed up.
Yeah.
So I reached out, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I can do anything, but I might be interested. Let's do a video call. Because I'm like, I need to see you're a real person, right? Like, I'm not about to get catfished.
Yeah.
So we do a video call, and he doesn't speak any English. The wife's English is fairly good, but yeah, they like show me their apartment, and I'm like, okay, so you're real people, and really looks like you're in Ukraine. So then I had to go back to my wife, and I was like, hey, how do you feel about sponsoring this random couple from Ukraine? She's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a U for U program, United for Ukraine program. So basically what happened, Russia invades. Everybody from Ukraine flees to Mexico. Again, not to get political, but allegedly that's the move to get, if you want to get in the U.S., just go to Mexico, cross the border, right? And the U.S. saw that was happening and was like, we don't want that to happen. But if you go through like the actual immigration process, that can take years. And obviously these people didn't really have years because Russia's coming. So they're like, okay, we will expedite the immigration process, but in order to get over here, you have to have a sponsor. And the sponsor is basically responsible for you and says they'll look after you and help you get adjusted to American citizenship. You have 2 years granted here, and then you can apply for asylum, but the U4U program is 2 years. And so I remember talking to my wife, and at the time we thought the U4U program still took several months. We were planning about 6 months. And so I was like, all right, like, well, we'll start the process. And I had the conversation with my wife, but we never, like, we kind of left off. We never, like, finished it. But I was like, it's going to take 6 months. I was like, I'm going to go ahead and start the process. So we start the process, and I'm talking with Valeri back and forth almost every day on Facebook messaging. And I remember messaging him in, like, the middle of the afternoon, which was, like, the middle of the night for them. And he would message back, like, instantly. And I was like, why are you awake? And he was like, there's a missile strike. Like, we just have to be awake. And so, like, something I can't even fathom, like...
Yeah.
Like, again, I know America's not the greatest, but I'm not sitting in bed like, man, I really hope a missile doesn't hit my house tonight, you know? So that was just surreal. And then I get a message from Valerian who was like, we got approved in like a matter of weeks. And I was like, oh shit. So then I had to go back to my wife and I was like, hey, remember that conversation we had but never really finished? They're coming. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, they're going to be here like next week. And she was like, okay. Shout out to my wife who is full of grace and love and supports me when I do something stupid.
Full of surprises, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, they got out of Ukraine. They went to, God, man, I don't even remember. I want to say, like, Romania, but that doesn't feel right. And then from there, they went to, like, Germany. And then from Germany, they flew all the way to Texas. And I picked them up at the airport. And they came here with a suitcase and a backpack apiece. And just left everything behind and came to the U.S. And, yeah, in some sense, it's kind of cool. We got them out of there and got them to the U.S. And hopefully they get to live a good and prosperous life and live the American dream, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's crazy. Go watch that YouTube video.
Yeah, it was a real tearjerker for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did kind of question Valeri's methods when we first came in. So I remember we were doing this interior, and he it was a problem for like a while.
Mm-hmm.
He kept putting soap in APC, and we're like, nah, don't do that. And he's like, okay, cool. And then and he'll do it again. We're like, bro, what are you on right now? But yeah, that's just one example. But Valeri, he's a cool dude. He's also a crazy polisher and coating guy. So yeah,
he definitely has his own like techniques and ways of doing things, and some things have been super helpful that he showed us, and other things that were like,
question.
Don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that. What? In November, you go to Chicago. Chi-Town.
Yep.
For a Chicago Auto Pros training about 10 PPF.
Yep.
That we're hopefully to launch next month or 2 months.
2 months-ish.
2 months-ish. Yeah. So, how was that?
That was awesome. Again, we've talked about it on this podcast. Chicago Auto Pro is one of the biggest shops in the country. Big inspiration for myself. Again, I've already done business training with them down in Houston that we talked about. But yeah, we're looking to expand services at this point, and we need to get into film and window tint. But like polishing, it's an art as much as it is a skill. So we go up there for a week. I take Alberto with me, and we do, I think PPF was first. Yeah, so we did the PPF training, and don't get me wrong, the training was amazing. Like, pretty much day one, they just say, like, here's film. Go try to install it. There's no, like, this is what film is. Here's how we install it. They were literally just like...
straight to work.
Yeah, they were like, go ahead and try it. And I was like, what do I do? And they were like, just try it. And so, but it's cool because everything's hands-on and the classes are super small. So you like just start working and then they're like, okay, here's where you screwed up. Do it this way. And then you try it again and try it again and you try it again and you try it again. And then like you would get a section of the car like perfect and they're like, all right, rip it off, do it again. And so the whole time you're there, you're just doing reps. And it was really great, but basically all it taught me was, yeah, we need some help. Because this is not a skill you can learn in a week. Yeah. So I think Alberto really got some good hands-on time because I quickly learned that, like, hey, man, I'm not going to learn this in a week. So I kind of, like, I would get the concept, and then I would be like, all right, Alberto, take my reps. Yeah. And then I got to talk to E-Man, shout out to E-Man, who basically built Chicago Auto Pro's film department and now basically runs Optical, which is their film brand. And I just got to pick his brain on business and, like, how did you guys grow and what do you do about this? What about hiring? What about positions? And then just seeing, like, how their shop operates because I want to say they're like 12,000 square feet. I mean, they're like a $10 million a year shop, so they're crushing it. But yeah, the biggest help was just getting to pick E-Man's brain, and then honestly just getting away. I mean, it's not super fun to be away from your family for a week, but I got some really good just reflection time and just meditate and just who do I want to be? What do I want the business to look like? So that was super valuable. And then directly ties into your role. Do you want to get into that?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
So it was no secret I hate detailing. Oh my gosh. It was no secret. And so, I remember you come back and you call me to the office. And I was like, I'm in trouble. What did I do?
Do you think you're going to be fired?
100%. So I did a prank on my brother the other day.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, hey, bro.
That's cold.
Austin needs to talk to you. And he was like, ah. And so he walks in the office. So that's how I felt.
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, all right. I'm just going to say thank you. Like, I appreciate everything. And I was going to head out. And then you're like, yeah, it's no secret you hate detailing. So once you said that, I was like, oh, is what? I'm done for it? And then you're like, yeah, Chicago, I know we need a media guy. And I'm like, yes. So you can get more into that.
Yeah, so I'm not really working on film, honestly. I'm watching the shop and watching how they operate. Yeah. And I see a guy with a camera, and I'm like, man, this guy is everywhere. And he's just taking photos and videos. And so I'm talking to E-Man, and I'm like, oh, man, E-Man, you guys got a full-time media guy. That's really cool. And he just looks at me and goes, bro, we have 4. I said, what? He said, yeah, we have 4 guys. So he takes me back to, like, the office. There's a office behind their lobby, and it's just filled with monitors and guys just editing and, like, working in the Matrix. And I was like, oh, okay. And so they have a decent-sized YouTube channel, and it's really helped propel them to where they are. And he was like, yeah, media is super important. And I was like, check. So then when I got back, I know you had done some media stuff previously, and yeah, I could tell, like, you don't love detailing. And so I was like, what about media? And so we shifted you to full-time media, and I think it's been a really good decision. Our socials have grown quite a bit. We have a magazine, YouTube's growing, Facebook's growing, Instagram's growing, TikTok's growing, and part of this podcast. I think that was your idea too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Well, it was your idea to do a solo podcast, and then I was going to be like the tech guy, because I had a little bit of experience. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I need a little bit more help. And I was like, no, let's just get a studio. Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of that. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's the best show I've ever had, because, like, I had so much fun just laughing at, like, bloopers and, like, stuff, so.
Your media skills are great. Your detailing skills were...
Whoa. I'm about to defend myself for anything you're about to say.
I'm just saying.
Alright.
I'm just saying.
Name one thing, though.
What do you mean, name one thing?
Name one thing I was bad at.
Polishing?
Whoa. So there's so many times, this is why I'm going to defend myself.
Oh my
There's
God.
so many times you'll walk out and be like, Alberto, you polished a whole car. Congrats. I'm like, hey, bro, I polished half that thing. And then you're like, no shot. And Alberto will be like, yeah, he did. Cool. And there's other times where you're like, oh, snap. Like, this looks amazing. I'm like, I know. I did it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, you didn't. I'm like, I promise you did. There's a camera right there. And, like, so there's so many times you've done that. And like, it's to the point where I was like, hey, I'm a dog.
Yeah.
All I need is a platform. I just need one person to believe in me.
Yeah.
And then you were just like, hey, you suck. And I was like, you know what?
I do believe in you from the media side. We ain't got time for this.
I was top 2, top 3. I was top 3, and I'll die on that hill.
Ooh, top 3.
I was top 3, and I'll die. Okay, moving on. You had the 1929.
We gotta wrap this up.
1929 TV deal. Which was a cool car. It's a Whippet.
Yes. Car from 1929. Basically almost 100 years old. Guy comes in and he goes, hey, it's one of 12 that exist. So that was super scary of like, obviously you never want to screw up on a car, but like, you kind of know in the back of your mind, like if you screw up on a Honda Accord, like, okay, it's fine. But then a 1929 that's one of 12, like if you screw up, like, you're screwed. But yeah, thankfully we crushed it. Again, YouTube video on that, go check it out. And then that led to, he told his buddy who had a
Star Wars truck, which is December.
Yes, Star Wars truck that's basically entirely custom. Everything on it is one of a kind. It's valued at like $800,000. He's won a bunch of like national competitions with it. That was terrifying to have in the shop.
Yeah.
I was like, please get this thing out of here. It's covered. We're covered. We have enough insurance to cover it. But anytime you have something that's worth a really nice house, like in your possession, I'm like, just don't break it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool to work on some cool cars and some cool connections. So.
Well, to kind of wrap things up here, I got some rapid questions for you.
Okay.
They're not a lot, but...
Twizzlers is terrible.
I promise we're having this conversation after the podcast.
Okay.
I promise we are.
I bet.
Well, you hire basically everybody we have here now this year, the whole gang. We also changed a lot. How you feel about the dynamic the team's going in, and also the constant change between it?
How do I feel the team is going in? The direction?
Yeah, the direction.
It's been tough, man. I do feel like we've had some culture issues, which is really hard to see. And I think a lot of that falls on me as a leader, and that's my fault. And I think a lot of that is I don't want to have uncomfortable conversations, even though it's probably necessary. But yeah, it's not fun. You know, you don't want to do that. I just want to be like, hey, do your job. You know, again, seems like a low bar. Sometimes it's not. So that's been hard, and that's something I'm working on as a leader, and something I think we're gonna have to fix going forward. But at the end of the day, I love all my guys, and I don't want anybody to. I don't want to be like, oh, you're in trouble. You know, like, no, I want everybody to be on the same page and work together as a team, and revenue keeps going up, and then we all make more money, right? Like that's the goal. But yeah, I do think we've got some work to do. I've got some work to do.
Stay hard.
Stay hard. Is that it? I know what you got for me.
No, there's like a couple more. Okay. So, so rapid questions.
Oh, okay. All right, my bad.
Hit it. In May, $30K, was that a risk? And then, did we have any leftover cash on hand?
Yeah, so we still have cash on hand. We did have cash on hand then. Yes, it was a huge risk. Again, shout out to my wife for allowing me to take huge risk. I would say in hindsight, it's worth it. Besides that stupid paint depth gauge, I regret that so much. We have a $3,000 paint depth gauge. Nobody needs a $3,000 paint depth gauge. No. You don't. That's the one I regret.
Then we could buy like another one for $100, and we're.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. But everything else, I think, was well worth it. But yeah, 100% it's a risk, and we're probably gonna take more risk if and when we get this new shop. So stay tuned.
Well, now you're like a full-time boss now. It's just not one employee. It's like you have 6 people. So does that kind of affect your outside life? Is it kind of hard not to take work home? Because you're caring for 6 people, and they come to you because they see you as a leader. Does it kind of affect, or you just don't care?
No, 100% I care.
Oh.
And yeah, it's super hard.
Really?
Yeah, so it's hard especially on months that like we break even, because then it's like man, I've got like 5 people to take care of, plus I feel like I need to provide for my family, right? And so if I'm not doing that, then you take that really hard. And then work home, yes, work is. I don't think people understand unless you run a business, like, because it's on you. Like, it's always like, what can we be doing better? Like, what can we change? Like, what do we need to be doing? What am I not doing? Like, that's always on your mind. And then, yeah, I've worked Saturdays for almost 4 years now. So I work 50, 60 hours a week for 4 years. And that's just like 40-hour work week doesn't compute to me. I'm like, what? What do you mean you only work 40 hours? Like, okay, cool. So that's just been consistent. So yes, especially with a new son, would love to spend more time at home. So hopefully, again, new shop, management in place, can take a little step back, at least maybe like Saturdays. But yeah, it's very difficult. Don't run a business.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Well, I got one more question for you, then we'll be done. What did you learn in 2023, and how are you going to apply it to 2024 right now?
What did I learn?
Employees suck sometimes.
Facts.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's truth right there. Man, I just had a thought. What did I learn? I think, honestly, it kind of reminds me of, you were like, celebrate victories, enjoy the journey, right? So I remember like January, it was right before we got the shop. So like, I think it was January of 22, because we got the shop in 22. Yeah. We did like $2,000 in revenue or something. Like, it was one of our worst months ever. And then like 18 months later, we had like a $30,000 month or something. And I remember being like, I think I was disappointed by the $30,000 month. And because I'm like, man, we should have done more, right? But like, if you just zoom out just a little bit, that's like, okay, well, that's like 15x what we did 18 months ago, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that, I mean, yeah, we're not where we want to be, but like, we're doing good. But when you're so focused on the day-to-day of like, going from like, can we just get 1 detail a day? Okay, now can we get 2 details a day? Okay, now can we get 1 coating a day? Okay, now can we get 2 coatings a day? And now if I'm like, yeah, if I don't have 2 coatings a day, I'm disappointed. And I'm like, I remember a time when I would have killed for a coating a week. Now I'm disappointed if I don't have 2 a day. And so I think like, it's just trying to keep that mindset of like, hey, it's okay. We're not where we need to be. But 2023, I think we experienced such growth that it's easy just to take that for granted. And I think I learned like, breathe and don't always take things for granted. That's my answer.
Yeah. It's the little things, right?
It's the little things.
Plus, other recognition you're getting, so something must be going right.
Yeah, I don't care about the recognition though.
Yeah, but people see how hard you work, so and they see the potential of the business. I take it like that way.
Yeah. I mean, like, if I could win the lottery and like nobody know, like, that would be ideal. Like, I don't want to be famous.
Yeah.
But I'll take the money though, so.
So you gotta run a business. Have you seen Snowfall? Anyway, I gotta wrap it up.
Yeah,
You're not
we
gonna
gotta
go now.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, Thank you all for watching. We're almost on everything. We'll see you all next time.
See you later.
See you later.